Welcome back to 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast, a show focused on highlighting the illustrious Prairie A&M University, the HBCU of Texas, by promoting SWAC and the HBCU experience, featuring your fellow PV Panthers, Roland Austin, Jay Cleasy, Big Mike Washington, three-time SWAC champ Gati Werema, former drum major HBCU band historian Shawnetta Haskell, and Al Williams, driving the show from the Hill. Please subscribe and follow us on social media at 1876 SCP. And don't forget, we do it for the culture.
Welcome to the 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast. I'm Al Williams, driving the ship today. Today I have joining me Shawnetta Haskell, Mike Washington, and Joe Clay. Roland is out on assignment, so is got T, so let's just roll with it. What's going on?
Man, it was a tough one.
On the road, too.
On the road, but we're going to talk about it later.
Man, I'm telling you, I was a little excited during that game, but yeah, we'll hit that up in a minute. You know, we got a couple things that we need to talk about. So, you know, one of the big things that happened this week, the Queen of England passed away. So, Black Twitter and Irish Twitter seem to be in solidarity and kind of dragging the Queen this week. It was an interesting couple of days.
It's curious at the things that bring back people together, ain't it?
Man, it was crazy. I mean, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, the things that she has seen and lived through. You know, she found out that she became queen while she was in Africa, kind of on a safari, and you know, the brutality and that came with colonialism across the continent of Africa, in the Caribbean, in India. I mean, just across the globe, the things that happened under her watch, you know, there was a lot. So, you know, a lot of folks are saying, well, maybe it's not right to, you know, talk about the dead and things like that. But you also got to recognize the fact that a lot of people and a lot of generations were impacted by the things that came under her rule under colonization across this planet.
Well, even not on Black Twitter, but on just regular Twitter, on Instagram, there were a lot of comments, a lot of, you know, putback saying, hey, realize the folk, we respect the folk, her position, but there were a lot of, well, she was a colonist. So there was a lot of that theme flying around. There was a lot of discussions like, how do you celebrate a colonist? So it's interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny, they tried to rebrand that whole colonialism stuff by calling it a commonwealth, but we all know what the real story is. But you know, we see places like Barbados with Prime Minister Mia Mottley, where they stepped away, and the Queen was no longer the head of state for Barbados. You know, we heard earlier in June, the Prime Minister of Antigua said they're going to have a referendum about removing the Queen as the head of state for their country. So, you know, what do they have left? Really, Canada, New Zealand,
Australia, India, some parts of India, some parts of South America. I didn't realize she had such control of her vast empire. I mean, that's truly colonization by the sheer definition of the word.
Hey, the fact that we are having this call in English says something. These United States started off as a colony. Remember the 13 colonies? Come on, people. So, you know, nobody on this planet really could escape some of the things that happened under that empire. And maybe this is an inflection point where, you know, the monarchy has outlived its usefulness. I wonder what the folks in Britain are thinking, if they're going to continue this or, you know, because those are the biggest beneficiaries of state-funded welfare on the planet. You know, all the jewels that she has amassed over the years, you know, the largest diamond in the world came out of Africa. So how long we gonna allow this monarchy thing to go, or is it kind of outlived its usefulness?
They ain't letting that go. You hit it right. You hit the nail on the head. All those stolen jewels from the continent of Africa, is most of their wealth. They would have to send all that back if they denounced the monarchy from this point forward. But my opinion, I don't even want to waste no more time talking about it. I'm not gonna say anything because I'm gonna get in trouble if I speak my mind. So I'm gonna just zip it up.
The only thing I have before we move on, it's this woman is 96 years old, and why did we wait until why did everyone wait until she passed away? Right. And so that's the issue that I have with it, because this isn't new. So to wait until she passed away, just seems a bit tacky, but people are entitled to their opinion. So I'm still gonna say may she rest in peace.
Yeah, we're gonna say may she rest in peace. But we also gonna say in the famous words of the Wu-Tang Clan, run the jewels.
Exactly.
All right. Some other news that came in this week, Kevin Powell was named the second writer in residence for the Toni Morrison writing program at Prairie. That's big.
Love it.
That is big time. I was really pleased with that selection. I'm sure he will have a lot of great things to say and wisdom to pass on to current undergrads at PVAM University.
Yeah, and he came up in our generation. So we first became familiar with Kevin during the MTV show The Real World season 1.
Yeah, 1992.
But those of you that remember
The Real World,
we just dated ourselves, but hey, but that's where we know Kevin from. But for the young folks, to put this into some historical perspective, he was one of the folks that one of the journalists got really close with Tupac Shakur, and during Tupac's life, he told Kevin that he wanted him to be his Alex Haley, like Alex Haley was to Malcolm X. For all of those who fortunately read the autobiography of Malcolm X in high school, that was written by Alex Haley. So Tupac had that much respect for Kevin Powell that he wanted him to be his Alex Haley. So great journalist, great writer. He's been involved in everything. Vibe magazine. He was one of the first on Vibe magazine. So a lot of history with that brother, and we look forward to having him on the yard, man. I'm excited for that.
And for those of you who are not aware of the prestige of this Toni Morrison writing program, it's led by Provost Emerita and Professor E. Johanna Thomas Smith, and organizationally housed in the College of Arts and Sciences. The program features an annual writer in residence program, will offer public readings, master classes, all of that good stuff. However, the Toni Morrison writing program was made possible, get this, by that philanthropist, Mackenzie Scott, early in 2021. Scott was Morrison's student during her time at Princeton. Many of you know this, many of you don't know this, but that is added to kind of the prestige of this program, and to be chosen for such a program adds to the utmost importance, and it highlights his skills as a writer, philanthropist, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's important to highlight the importance of the program as well.
Yeah, very important. And the fact that program is not at Texas A&M, it's at PV.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Also, our very own, our classmate, Dr. Marianne Price, is going to be featured in the Smithsonian Channel's documentary on the Obama portraits. That's big news.
Big news. Oh my gosh. I mean, where do we start? Remember she was, chosen as kind of an in-house scholar, and now she's doing bigger and better things. So, where do we?
From Rutgers, right? She came from Rutgers. Yeah, that's big. That's big. And matter of fact, we had her on the show season 2.
Yeah,
she was in season 2 of the show. So yeah, friend of the show. We wish Dr. Price nothing but success, and we're glad to see this glow up here. Now, in other news, PV news, the PV legend, the last PV QB1 to win a SWAC championship, our brother KJ Black.
KJ Black.
He was coaching with the LA Rams this week, made his debut.
Yep, let's give some background. So he was with FAMU. He was the offensive coordinator with FAMU. Then he got pulled to participate in the basically an internship program with the NFL, and so he is on the coaching staff of the LA Rams. So that is a big time move for him as he elevates through the coaching ranks of either college or pro. So he's got both he'll have both on his resume now, college and pro experience. So he made his debut, was that Thursday night? The Thursday night game of last week?
Yep.
So that was very exciting for him.
Great job, KJ. Way to hold us PV proud. All right. Lastly, before we go on to football, let's talk about this Black Star Network and Urban Edge Media deal with the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. I hear it's a 5-year deal, 7 figures. They're going to carry content for all sports 24/7 for the GCAC.
Yeah, I think it was 1.5 million. So which isn't a ton of money media wise, but when you're talking about a small conference, an NAIA conference that typically has never been on TV at all, it's a big deal for them. I don't know what the exact percentage breakdown of the numbers of how much money they will see individually as schools, but for those of you who are not familiar with the conference, you're talking about Dillard University in New Orleans, Fisk University, Oakwood, Philander Smith, Rust, SUNO, which is Southern University of New Orleans, Tougaloo, and Wiley College. You never see those schools on TV. So this will be a big deal for them.
Can't mention this without mentioning Dr. Kiki Baker. So as the powerhouse woman commissioner and a former Dillard commissioner of their athletics program, this is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week streaming of NAIE sports. And oh, by the way, we had her on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab last week with Dr. Cavill and Charles Bishop. She kind of hinted around at potential conference expansion, couldn't give us the details, but all of the chips are kind of falling in line. So now you have this deal. Now you have potential conference expansion. I'll leave it right there because I don't want to get into any other things that may be confidential, but big things happening in the GCAC.
That's exciting. The fact that, they are owning their media content and getting paid for it, that's huge. And that HBCU League Plus, the quality of the broadcast is phenomenal.
4K.
I mean, we are not talking, low resolution with janky game callers. This is top notch, man. This is top shelf, man. Kudos out to our frat brother Roland Martin for having a part of this deal as well. He's going to be promoting a lot of the content on his social media through the Roland Martin Unfiltered and the Black Star Network. So, hey, man, of course, as always, Alpha's always in the mix, right?
Leading the way, baby.
Leading the way.
There it is. There it is. All right, let's wrap up here. Let's go over and talk some football. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
2nd and 5. First to the hole up the middle and breaks free. The 20, the 10. Touchdown, Prairie View. And it is Tristan Wallace.
All right, and we are back to talk some football. For those of you listeners who see me and look like I'm sitting in a jail somewhere, well, kind of, sort of. I'm in the Greensboro airport, and the only place I can get some quiet, I had to pay $30 for this little booth thing. So I'll let y'all see. I'm in this little thing called the escape booth or something, man. It's all right, but the Wi-Fi didn't work, but we gonna make it work anyway. So that's why I don't have a background, and I look like I'm kind of in the underground realm on a little bit, but we gonna keep going.
The wall's closing in on me, man.
Yeah. I hope they don't shut this power off, man, because I only paid for an hour. So if the lights go out, that's what happens.
Speaking of
this game, man.
I was about to say, speaking of lights going out, the lights went out on us in the fourth quarter.
Man.
Yes, they did. For those who don't know,
what happened? That 4th and 5. You gotta,
the field goal.
The kicker, money was ready. Money was ready.
Yeah. Well, let's let people know we took the L 21-13. We were up 13-7 at the end of the third quarter. We had time of possession. We wanted time of possession, 32 minutes to 27 minutes. We had 333 yards. They had 335 yards. It was good play calling by Coach Fredericks for the entire first half of the game. I was impressed with his play calling. I was impressed with defensive coordinator Todd Middleton's 7-man rotation. He kept them all fresh. The front 7 rotated every series, if not every other couple plays. And so the defense played well the first half. Offense play call, and I think everybody kind of agreed that he changed his play call up from last week, which was he was forced to go run heavy that game. This game, he was able to open it up, and we saw Trayvon throw the ball and threw it well and used his legs and ran the ball, which will be very effective in SWAC play. So we were all upbeat at the end of the halftime. And another thing, I appreciated how when they got the ball back with a few seconds left, they pushed the ball. They stayed aggressive to try to get some more points on the board instead of just kneeling it.
Man, that was a solid piece of coaching there, you know, because a running back to have the awareness to go down with 2 seconds left on the clock so that Money could come in and get those 3 as we were ready to walk out there.
It's my favorite play.
Yes, that was
that's my favorite one.
It's been a long time since we've seen good clock management from PV, and we definitely got to see it on display in that first half of the game yesterday.
I tell you what, one more thing, Joe. The spread of the ball across the running back, they developed quite the committee where Goodwater came in and gave you some really good yards. I think he had about 40 yards. Yep. Then you had Antoine, Ahmad Antoine, of course. Then you had, Connor Wisham, the freshman. So they spread the ball out between a committee of running backs, and that running back out the field hitting them in the flat. That's going to be something they can develop later on in the SWAC schedule.
I was very impressed with watching that true freshman Connor Wisham come out the backfield. He looked good catching that ball out of the backfield. I'm sure they did not want to burn his red shirt, but they probably gonna have to now after seeing what we saw from him. But let's give the kicker some love and let the folks know his name, Carlos Villagomez. We know,
AKA
like as y'all mentioned, money.
Mm.
He got it done. Now let's move on into the third and fourth quarter.
Man, hold on. Before we go there, we talked about the running backs, and one guy was missing that I didn't see it. I don't know if he's injured or what's going on, but we didn't see Stewart this week. Yeah, he's a part of that Get Money gang coming out of that backfield last week. They had, dual or triple 100-yard rushers.
So he was at the game. He started. But he has some minor injury. He tweaked a minor injury. Word is he'll be able to play next week, but he could not carry forward with the game. I think they didn't want to risk it with a non-conference play. They want to keep him healthy for SWAC play. So I think we'll be seeing him. But yeah, we missed him for sure, because we went from a 5+6, maybe 6 yard per carry, average yards per carry, down to 2.6 without him. And that hurt.
Yeah, that hurt. Let's go on into that second half, man.
Well, let's point out the fact that, again, quarterback play was solid. Trayvon threw for 240 yards, I do believe. Yep. He looked good throwing the ball. 1 TD. Jalen Howard was 4 for 7 with 1 TD. Xavier Johnson was 5 catches for 61 yards. I would love to see him used more down the field, because he's supposed to be the speedster. Like, he had track speed. I think he won state in the 400 his senior year of high school. So he's got track speed. Let's use him, man. But what we saw was third quarter, too many 3 and outs, huh?
Yeah, the last 5-6 possessions were punts. Actually, the last 6 possessions were punts. It all hinged on that 4th down and 5 that changed the complexion. We go in, make that. It's still a 2-point PV game. That changes how they have to play the game. As a result, we didn't get it. Old lady momentum takes place, and all of a sudden we can't get a solid drive going. It was in and out. 3 down, 3 up, 3 down for 6. You look at the stats. I don't have to tell them 6 straight punts after that call. It just completely changed the complexion of the game.
Yeah, the defense can only hold for so long. And yeah, we got fresh legs at a couple different levels, but those 3 and outs really put the pressure on your defense. And when you've got a solid quarterback that's able to throw strikes on the other side, not having him under pressure will allow him to kind of pick you apart a little bit. But they stood solid. It's not like the floodgates open. Right. They still stood solid.
Yeah, I think that 7-man rotation kept them fresh, but then towards the end of the third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, we started to see them just wear down a little bit. And that's just a matter of that a bigger offensive line wearing you down after too many 3-and-outs. I would like to think that going again, and once we enter in SWAC play, that 7-man rotation, going against the SWAC O-line will stay fresher longer, even when we do have too many 3-and-outs. So I was impressed by that. I think I'll take that away as a positive from this game, if you want to take away a positive from an L. But I think there was no drop off.
I think there were a number of positives, though. Just even the amount of time that Trayvon had to throw the ball a lot of times. So I'm taking that away.
Yeah, that protection was good. Great point. That protection was awesome.
Yeah, let me go back and correct the kicker's name. It's Luis Reyes. Reyes, my bad.
Money Reyes.
Money Reyes. Yeah.
So we gotta get it straight. We gotta put some respect on his name.
Some respect on his name.
You know what? We were gonna get that theme music to the running backs, but I say we give it to Luis, man. So let me add the interns cue up that Erykah Badu sample. Big money.
Hey, and as we pointed out about special teams, also the punter, a true freshman, Ephraim Jasso, he's helping us win the field position game.
Yes.
From game one.
A few times.
Yes, sir. So I'm excited as we go in. We have one more game before SWAC play. I'm happy about special teams because we've seen special teams cost us a game a couple times. For those who remember the game at Sam Houston State, we lost that game because of the punter in special teams. So I don't think we have to worry about that type of issue anymore from the talent we have now on the special teams side. So one thing I will point out, the transfer portal, give it and it take it. So as y'all know, we lost Drake Cheatham and Jason Dumas. However, some of the players we gained showed up yesterday. Stacy Brown, a safety from Duncanville High School. Gerald Smith, the cornerback, number 25, who came away with 2 picks, 2 INTs. Keyshawn Johnson, who I mistakenly called a freshman last week. He actually is a grad transfer from Louisiana Monroe, also from Duncanville High School. They played with Trayvon in high school. You saw him all over the field. Miles McCaney, a defensive end. So all of our transfers, the guys we got in the transfer portal, they are playing defense big time.
Yeah,
so,
you just ask the Sun Belt Conference how those transfers are working for them. I'm still upset about that. 3 Sun Belt victories, one of which Appalachian State beat Texas A&M. All right, walked away with 1.5 to 2 million, whatever source you want to look at. We played Texas A&M. Our band gets a standing ovation. Okay, yay, band. And we walk away with 450,000 plus an ass whooping. So these transfer portals make a difference.
Negotiation is key. So we can at least give Coach Bubba McDowell and his coaching staff credit for coming in late, but still finding some gems in the transfer portal to help fill the gaps of what you lost and the gaps of the things you needed. Again, those transfer guys, they have stepped in. Some other defensive standouts who were transfer guys also from a couple years ago. Troy James on the D-line. He was a grown man all day. Even once they got tired, he was still doing it. Dante Carter stood up on the D-line. He came and got it done. And a guy who's been here for a minute, putting in work, Desmond Obie. The front 7 got it in, man. They just got tired with all those 3-and-outs. That's just what it is.
There it is. All right, let's take a quick break. We got Incarnate Word coming up next week. That's a home game. So PV, come on, let's pack it out like we did in the first week. It makes a difference. We didn't have the band, and I know Shanetta's gonna get into that, but we at home next week, and we need to make up for last year. I wasn't happy with what happened to us against Incarnate Word last year. So we can't let the Catholics come in here and beat us again.
One point before we head out to the break, Shanetta had a very good point. She texted, and I was thinking this at the same time. During the breaks, you kept seeing commercials, not one dang PV commercial. So I don't know if it's negotiation. I know there's a lot of that goes into play, but I kept thinking, and she texted, she was like, I just want to see a PV commercial. I don't want to speak for Shanetta, but I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is there a PV commercial somewhere on the horizon?
Hey, when you got your own network, you can do that. And Abilene Christian had their own network, and that's what they got it in. But going back to in Corner Word, PV, we gotta show up. I rolled down to San Antonio last year and watched them Catholics put us through communion for 4 quarters.
Oh, Jesus.
We can't have exactly
communion.
We can't.
Did you say communion?
Yeah, man. We can't have this again. Show up on the yard. Let's show support the whole game, just like we did for Labor Day Classic. Make noise, make them folks feel uncomfortable, make them feel unwanted.
Show up regardless.
They'll say, I know it was the blood. All right. We're going to take a break and come back and talk some bad.
In the name of the quarterback, the receiver.
Back. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing on that communion one. But Shanetta, so we know the band elected not to go to the Abilene game, but rather to open the NFL home season for the Houston Texans. So the Texans wanted the HBCU of Texas to come and open up for the Texans. So what's your thoughts there?
So I did see the halftime show. And I want to shout out to my boy Sleep for making that happen for me. So yeah, they performed with Paul Wall during the halftime show. I love the Houston Chronicle headline because it's already there. Sorry for you. And it says, Paul Wall, Prairie View A&M Band put the most Houston halftime show at the Texas game. And it was definitely a Houston show. The funny thing is, though, the band didn't play one note. So
What?
Basically, they got in an H formation and they danced behind Paul Wall. Now they were grooving. They were grooving.
What song?
Not
like 4 or 5 of his songs. So he's rapping and they're dancing behind him.
Okay.
He showed up to be background dancers?
They were basically. So they were grooving though.
I got a question. I got a question. Is Paul Wall still relevant?
No one went to the concession stand. So I mean, they had a full.
Oh, that must be because they was all Gen Xers who listened to Paul Wall when he was relevant. We ain't got no relevant Houston rappers these days.
I don't know.
None that they can put on TV in prime time.
Oh.
I mean, I know it's hard to, get some band tunes dripping and all that good stuff, but man, they could have had the drum line at least going.
Yeah. So
good point. So the drum line didn't play either.
The band appeared at the halftime show.
It was an
They appeared. Okay. So,
okay.
But again, I mean, if it was about exposure,
they got a check.
I was about to say, did we get a check?
They got a check, right?
Hopefully they did. Hopefully
because
they got a check.
Our young men could have used them in Abilene in that fourth quarter when we went dry and couldn't score no points. We needed the band to hype us up.
Yeah, I will admit, yes.
Yeah.
But no. So I mean, again, if it was about exposure, kudos to them. There were a lot of people there, but looking at the footage, they didn't play. So.
Wow.
But
you ain't got nothing else to talk about.
I have nothing else. I'm like, okay.
Thank you for coming out. God bless you tonight.
I know. But you know what? I want to clear up something that I said last week because one of the listeners messaged me and said, "Hey, Sam, that's his rendition of Swamp as well. So last week I made the comment about, people were upset or saying, hey, don't get mad because TSU played Swamp when Prairie View played Torture. And I said, well, Torture was written for the Jacksons and Swamp was written for PV. I actually went back and listened to our podcast where we had Sam on, and he did say he wrote it after going to New Orleans and hearing it. But we still own that song. But
oh yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, of song ownership, LSU played Southern, or should I say SU played LSU.
Yes.
And I believe you mentioned previously that LSU has essentially stole Nick from Southern.
LSU, Ohio State, USC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ohio
I wonder,
State.
how did that go down yesterday when Southern started playing Nick, or LSU started playing Nick at that game? Did they just have a battle of Nicks?
I guess so. I didn't see it, but I actually heard that they did some like kind of combined band. But again, that's hearsay. You saw it?
They did on halftime. They did a show together and they danced together. I didn't listen to it, but I did see the visual. I wasn't a fan of it. I was like, man.
Nah, man.
Historically,
I don't want to march with Texas A&M.
No.
I don't want LSU marching with. Now you want to know us before you wasn't speaking. This is the first time those two ever played. Why is that? Y'all can
in history
with doing some kumbaya halftime together. Nah, bruh. Not today.
That's that democratic business, man. Let's all be friends.
That's some colonization stuff.
There you go.
Can we all just play along?
No, I ain't forgot what you did to my people.
Right. We gonna go Bob Marley.
But let them know why they're alive. Let them know why they're alive, though.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, not much going on with the Storm. So, maybe next week they'll set that tone.
Yeah.
It's home, so yeah, we got it. I want to blow the roof off.
Yeah, we got
to be ready for SWAC. For once SWAC play starts, ain't no ramping up. We need a step function.
We got to bring the thunder. We got to let's go Panthers. We got to be right there with them.
One thing I forgot. Remember last season we were talking about where are the plumes? They actually have plumes. So I did see them when they performed.
They pulled the plumes out for the Texans game.
Looks good. Well, you didn't want them last week because of the rain.
Okay. So and plumes are expensive. I got you.
All right, we got the plumes, so yeah, maybe that's all we needed was the plumes. So let's get it in. All right, let's take a quick break. We got a special guest here today, so we'll be right back. And this week we got a special guest for you. We got Assistant AD, Mr. Yant. Yant is in the house. What's up, bro?
Hey, how you all doing?
Doing great.
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm outstanding. It is always a pleasure to be in the midst of some PV Panthers.
Oh yeah. Now, brother Yant, now you got the sauciest Instagram page of all the PV staff.
He done heated it up.
I know.
Up all the time.
You know what? I'm gonna take that as a compliment. At the end of the day, I don't do this for me, man. I'm representing a brand bigger than me, and so in that, I want to put it at the best light that we can. So I certainly, when people see me, I want them to see PV. So
there it is.
There it is. I like that. I like that.
You've done an excellent job. I wanted to commend you about that also. I think one thing we haven't done well is to use social media, a free platform, to push Prairie View as much and as often as possible. And I noticed your increased presence, social media presence, and it's been a wanted thing, and you've done a great job. So congratulations on that.
No, I appreciate that. Again, we 1 weekend, and I'm amazed at the following, and more importantly, I'm amazed at the current students that are following me. So it's the demographics on it range. So that's a positive thing. So let's keep the momentum going.
Let me go and follow you.
So tell us about, we've got volleyball is kicked off. Football has gotten off. We had this non-conference play here with Abilene. And we are starting to be extremely competitive in some of these non-conference schedules. So I saw that volleyball got their first win here on, I think that was on Thursday this week.
Yep.
We were leading at halftime, one more quarter, and hey, this is a different game from yesterday. So tell us about how, your philosophy as you guys are sitting down and game planning and making these schedules. It's not just money game anymore. It seems like we're getting some folks where we can beat them.
Absolutely. Again, more importantly, we want to compete at the highest level. And one of the things when we talk about competing at the highest level in football, more importantly, we are FCS. There's 3 different divisions, and we're in that FCS in football. But all the other sports, we're for lack of a better term, just it's Division I NCAA competition. So when we talk about volleyball, basketball, all those other sports, we're a Division I program. And so in order to elevate our program, we have to play formidable opponents in order to recruit. It's all in recruiting. We start to attract and recruit the best student athletes, then we're going to be able to compete on all levels.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that we always talk about, everyone that participates in this show are big time donors. And one of the things that we talk about is having an athletic department that is fully funded. So we understand that, budgets are set pretty much by the state legislature, and you guys have to figure out how much you can fund for each sport. You got the revenue sports like basketball and football, but what is that gap right now that we could go from where we are on a budget to where we need to be to can be considered fully funded? How much money is that?
Well, I mean, when we talk about a gap, we're probably talking anywhere between about $4 to $5 million on an annual basis to be, fully funded, fully functional, and I'm not saying that's gonna because we win a championship with what we have. I think what it does is just takes us to, we'll be able to increase, better nutrition. There are a lot of games, there are a lot of situations where we just lack of funding, we're not able to compete. Our student athletes have to, endure, some less than favorable travel options and those types of things. So that's kind of where the gap is in that. But that $4 to $5 million, that's in accounting what we do from a revenue standpoint, fundraising, as well as some of the sponsorship opportunities.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, I know your background, says a lot about that your focus is on corporate partnerships and strategic initiatives. So I'd like to, if you will, look it through your lens 2 to 3 years, and what does that look like in terms of initiatives to build and uplift the athletic program and to develop other corporate partnerships, outside of the Houston area?
Okay, again, that's a great question. One of the things is, first of all, is just creating our brand. I mean, Prairie View has been around since 1876. One of the things is really telling our story that we are the mothership of the Southwest Province in 1920, the SWAC conference. So without us, there's no SWAC. Again, telling that story, being the second oldest institution in the state of Texas, one of the things we really want to do is have our local corporate partners. We want to have our statewide corporate partners, and of course, our national corporate sponsors. Right now, Pepsi is coming on board. We're going to get more aggressive with that. I just had a meeting with Adidas on Friday, a 2-hour meeting where we're really going to do some more robust things with Adidas. A lot of times when you enter those partnerships, you come in on ground one and then you sort of work yourself up to certain tiers. And so we're really about to move into a whole nother stratosphere, potentially with Adidas, because that agreement ends this year. And so it'll be going out to bid. I've already had Under Armour reach out to me. Of course, Adidas is our current sponsor. There's also sponsorships with Methodist. We just did a new agreement with the Methodist. If you all know, typically that the original agreement for the past 2 contract terms were with Methodist Willowbrook, which was just a particular branch And one of the things I've been in negotiations with Methodist on, you know, at this time, we really want to go to the next level. We want to be a part of Methodist health systems. And so we're looking at doing about a 3-year agreement, because in 3 years, there's going to be a new clinic in Cyprus. And Cyprus is close, you know, strategically, Cyprus area would service us much better. But more importantly, our alumni base, with Houston being the largest alumni base, we want to look at leveraging that partnership, not just with our current athletic department, but also just our alumni base in general in Houston. So we are very excited. There are some big things happening, you know, where you're going to look up, and when you look at that Methodist health systems, you see the Astros, you see Rice, you see the Houston Ballet, you see, I've been giving them a hard time, the Texans. And so before long, you're going to be seeing the PVAMU.
That's good to know. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I think that should excite PV alum to know that the athletics department has brought on someone with a background in marketing and negotiating skills, because those of you who have a background or just a historical knowledge of the SWAC conference and prior deals, a lot of people would say that we've signed sharecropper partnerships in the past, where we're not truly understanding our value and not truly negotiating from a position of power. And so bringing someone such as yourself with your skill will help to not only push Prairie View in forcing those different organizations and entities to enter a true relationship and partnership with us, but also other SWAC schools could also learn from those types of negotiations. So I'm really excited to see how far you can push the partnership deals with Prairie View and with, you know, deals such as Adidas, and see how much more we can get out of those deals. But one thing I'll mention that us at the 1876 Sports and Culture podcast has started to do from a branding perspective that we're going to hand over to you in the athletic department is labeling and branding Prairie View A&M as the HBCU of Texas. So we're going to hand that over to you officially and allow you to push that and claim the state of Texas.
Absolutely. I mean, is there another HBCU in Texas?
No.
We got a couple, but you know, when we talk about
well, we're talking about the one that was in the Texas Constitution. I don't know about the other ones.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I tell you what, I was with at the luncheon for the classic, the Labor Day Classic, and our president Ruth Simmons did an outstanding. I'm gonna take some of her punchlines and you know, and talk about the land that we own and all the accomplishments that we have made and the contributions that we have made in the state of Texas. So certainly, you know, we want to elevate all the HBCUs in Texas. However, I'm only going to be talking about, if it's not Prairie View A&M, then that is not of much interest to me. However, but we're gonna tell our story, and once we get ours, if we can bring some other people along, you know, most definitely we want to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So if I may ask one more question, you know, we've asked you a lot of questions about marketing. You know, what's your message to kind of the fans, the alumni base? What message would you like to get out to them that you feel that they have not received just yet? You know, there's a lot of bar cry. There's a lot of, hey, you know, we have some of the most passionate fans and alumni base around. So what message would you like to get out?
I think one of the things that the message I would want to say is at the end of the day, let's be Prairie View every day, all day. It's sort of like a family when we're dealing with particular obstacles. When we have some challenges, let's get into our private rooms and let's solve those things. But you know, collectively, I mean, Prairie View is what it does, and and we're the people. We represent Prairie View. So when we talk about our institution and we highlight, we really need to do a good job of highlighting who we are. That helps us with our branding, that helps us with these corporate relations, because the more we talk about us, the more that message is out there. It's going to take all of us. So when we see things, we see important posts, let's get out there, let's spread the word, let's be one Prairie View.
That's awesome. Thank you. Great message.
One Prairie View. I like that. I like
One Prairie View.
Yes. So,
one band, one Prairie View. I like that.
So we've got. Go ahead, Mr. Yant.
No, I just said there is only one. I mean, there are a lot of subgroups and there are individuals, but collectively we make one Prairie View. So that's
absolutely. So we've got Incarnate Word coming to the Hill next week. We had a really great turnout for that first week. I'm excited. It seems like the thirst for tickets is phenomenal on the yard. I saw images of all the students waiting in line to get their tickets for the Labor Day Classic. We want to see that same kind of turnout here next week. So what is the game time experience level up that we can look forward to this year versus maybe some years past?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things, again, collectively, we want to get the student body involved, the student organizations. Again, every game is homecoming. We want to increase our tailgating. We want to increase the fan engagement. The band, obviously, they are the show. We want to get the freshman class. We want to start with them as freshmen. That we create a culture of, there's only one place to be on a Saturday afternoon, and that's at Prairie View football games. And so if you're not there, then you're nowhere. We really, again, getting other departments involved in that culture, if you will. So everybody knows about homecoming. We want every game to be homecoming. And I think we're trying to do things very homecoming-like, if that makes sense.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we look forward to that game time atmosphere. We noticed the new tent out front for alumni for the tailgate. That's a huge thing. I think we're going to encourage a lot more people to come home and get involved and write some checks. More importantly, we need to try and fill that $4 million gap annually. And just given the success and the lives that we're able to live because of the things that have been bestowed upon us from Prairie View, I think $4 million is really a small thing to a giant when you talk about this alumni base.
Yeah, absolutely. We got, one of the things I'm learning, if I didn't know anything, I mean, people consistently, Prairie View alums are very passionate. We want to be the best. We want, we want to tell our story. And I think what better way is through athletics, where we really can get large groups of people, really create that family atmosphere, because it is certainly a family atmosphere. We want to make it where you want to bring your if you notice, the Incarnate Word game is a military appreciation game, so we really want to highlight the military, and every game, if we're getting out what to wear, and that's it's that way we can all be uniformed, and just a lot. We can't there's much to do. However, we starting one step at a time.
I will say, I'm not wearing pink against Southern. I'm not wearing pink to that game. I can't do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Okay, but we just want you to wear some sort of pink. I mean, just maybe a pink ribbon, something. The whole idea of that is the whole just breast cancer awareness and that kind of thing. But certainly,
well, Joe, we'll get you some pink gloves or something.
Right, a pink hat. We're gonna do something for you. We want some pink on you. Actually, you look good in pink, man. I got a nice pink polo. I already picked out mine.
You already picked out your outfit? Don't say that.
I mean, I have it, but I have a nice pink polo with the Prairie View logo, athletic logo. Somebody gifted that to me, so I'm like, this is the perfect game.
We do know melanated brothers do look good in pink. I ain't gonna lie.
Absolutely. I wanted to say that, but I didn't know if I was at liberty to say that.
Yeah. Oh, you amongst family now. So.
Absolutely. So, yeah. But it's real men wear pink, man. So I'm gonna leave
That's
that.
Right.
But there it is. All right, so we look forward to another big week in PV athletics. Thanks again, Mr. Michael Yant, Associate AD for Prairie View A&M University, the HBCU of Texas. And we'll be right back with the We Ready shoutouts. We are back for the We Ready shoutouts. Mike, what you got?
Yeah, I want to reach back and give Melanie Price class of 95, her due props. We, as you alluded to, Alan, we featured her last season as she's special assistant to the president. However, she's featured in an upcoming documentary on the Smithsonian Channel, highlighting the portraits of President Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, and former First Lady Michelle Obama. So she's an endowed professor of political science. We all know that. But picturing the Obamas because of her book, The Race Whisperer, Barack Obama and the Political Uses of Race, as well as her work as director of the Ruth J. Simmons Center for Race and Injustice. So she is doing a lot. And this latest documentary, which she is featured in, is the latest step. So I'd like to say to Melanie T. Price, she was ready.
She ready. All right, I want to shout out the volleyball team getting that first win of the season. Coach Tyler, way to go. Beat Houston Tillerson this week. I think it was 3-0. So let's keep it moving. Joe, what you got?
I want to give a shout out to number 25, Gerald Smith, a cornerback on the football team, in only his second game on the yard, 2 INTs. Nobody even knew who he was until he snatched them 2 out the sky. So Gerald Smith, he stepped on the yard and he has been ready.
He ready.
All right, Shanetta, we ready. So let's see what we got this week.
PV.
You know? Oh, that was horrible. What y'all
wait on? What are you waiting on?
I don't know, man. I'm waiting to see y'all. I'm waiting to see y'all move. It look like everybody inhaling.
I think we were looking at each other like, is he gonna go for a quick second? I mean, it's amazing how we do better at this when we're in person.
Yeah. So maybe next week at the Encounter Word, we gotta take that segment early and get it in person.
Exactly.
All right, y'all. We look forward to seeing everybody next week, and we out. All right.
All right.